Hey everybody, this is Ralph here at Cardboard Coliseum Games, coming at you with the long-awaited, much-debated, highly anticipated Episode 2 of Legendary Tech, featuring the Sliver Queen, the queen of all token combo commanders. Forget about Krenko, forget about the elves, it's all about the slivers. And I'm going to show you some of the tools that make it all about the slivers. What we're going to do this time is present the best alternatives to the top 5 cards we showed you in the first episode. These are cards that are, in some cases, significantly worse, and in some cases, functionally equivalent to our best must-own cards for any Sliver Queen commander deck. And we're going to start with what is actually the worst card on the list, but it is the only alternative to the best card overall that you must own for the Sliver Queen. I'm talking about Carnival of Souls. For 1 black and 1 generic, you get an enchantment that says whenever a creature comes into play, that is for anybody, including your opponents, you lose 1 life and add 1 black to your mana pool. Now, on the surface, this looks just like Mana Echoes, which is what puts it on this list at all. It is the only other card I could find that closely resembles Mana Echoes. But it only gives you 1 mana instead of 2. And there's a loss of a life, which means you can only create, under the right circumstances, 39 tokens, or you have to add another card to the combo to deal with the loss of life. And because it's only 1 mana instead of 2, unlike Mana Echoes, you have to add another combo piece. So really you're looking at 4 cards to do anything great with Carnival of Souls. Not the worst thing in the world, but really compared to the rest of the cards on this list, this is the bottom, folks, let me tell you. Next up, we have the second best altar in the game. Number 1, of course, being Ashe. Sacrifice a creature, get 2 mana, tag it with the Sliver Queen, infinite cycle all day, add any other 1 piece, you win the game. What we have, though, is the Phyrexian altar, which for the same 3 mana allows you to sacrifice a creature to create 1 mana of any color, which doesn't combo instantly with the Sliver Queen, but if you add any other 1 piece from this list, or from the first list, you go infinite, just like Ashnod's altar, and that mana is colored, so you can do infinitely more things with it. Still, I don't think this quite justifies its ginormous price range. Ashnod's altar you can get for less than $5 in almost every printing. Phyrexian altar, last I checked, was somewhere in the $20 range. Kinda crazy, but if you're going to build the right Sliver Queen deck, this is one of the first 10 cards you would buy. And the next card on our list is actually also fashioned after an altar. This is the second best alternative for Altar of the Brood, which is my personal favorite infinite creature generation combo kill. But as a close second, you have Impact Tremors. For 1 red and 1 generic, you get an enchantment that says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Tremors deals 1 damage to each opponent. So, it's 1 mana more expensive than the altar. It's an enchantment instead of an artifact. But it deals direct damage instead of mill, and it's to each opponent. So if you have, say, Carnival of Souls, where your life total is being affected by your ability to generate tokens, this can offset that a little bit, and at least make it an even race. If you can gain a little bit of life in there somewhere, you can win out just trading 1 for 1. And all of that as a common for under $1. It's great in Pauper, it's great in Modern. It was great in Standard when it was in Tarkir block. I've always loved it, and that's why it's so high on the list. Next, we have another representative of the token doubler cards. Now, I'm pretty sure the next video in the series is going to be all about the breadth and depth of token doublers. There's a bunch of them with different side effects. But originally I had chosen Parallel Lives because it was 4 mana, it did the job you wanted, it was just the best option, and a lot cheaper than some of the others that might be in that next video. And along those same lines, we have Anointed Precession, which for 1 white and 3 generic, just like Parallel Lives, green and 3, is an enchantment that says if an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many instead. Which, of course, connects up with the Sliver Queen, brings your cost per sliver down to 1, and once you're at that point, you can go infinite with any of the other cards on the lists. Nice card, cheap card, still available in Standard. And last, but certainly not least, really could juggle the 4 and 5 spots on both of these lists between the token doublers and the cost reduction cards. The king of those, of course, is Training Grounds. But here we have Hearthstone, which for 3 mana is an artifact that says activated abilities of creatures, no, that's all creatures including your opponents, cost 1 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the amount of mana an ability costs to activate to less than 1. So, just like with Training Grounds, you can never get Sliver Queen or any other creature down to 0, but it cuts that cost in half, and suddenly a 1 mana Sliver combos with either Phyrexian or Ashnod's Altar, Mana Echoes, Carnival of Souls, a slew of mana generating Birds of Paradise, Cryptolith Rite type cards for a zillion options to go infinite. And as an added bonus for Commander and Politics, having a card that reduces other people's activation costs has its perks. Takes a target off you a little bit when people look over and see Sliver in your commander's name, but you play a card that they kind of want to keep on the table. Little edges are always worth noting, right? And like most of the cards on this top 10, not very expensive, cash-wise. A couple dollars, uncommon from back in the day. Very much worth the investment, if you want to call it an investment. But that's all we have for you this week. I think I decided pretty well while recording this that the next video will go into token doubling cards. I'm going to break away from top 5s going cross-type and get more into specific niches. Haste providers, those Cryptolith Rite type cards, token doublers, mana base, things like that. All in all, the way I picture the series in my head is somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 episodes. And I hope it comes out half as well as I'm seeing it in my head. And hopefully more of you start to watch and I can get you guys to follow through episodes 3, 4, and 5. Then give myself and all of you something that we can present to some of the larger channels and see if we can't get some exposure from people who know what they're talking about. Again, thank you everybody for listening, watching, however you're consuming this at home. And if you would like to know anything about the channel and the cause that we are here to support, all of our information is in the description. We have a Patreon, a Facebook, Twitter, we're everywhere now. And we'd love to hear from you. And trust me, I check my email about 8 times a day. I will see you if you talk to me, and I will respond. Have a fantastic day, everybody.